All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone out there. May 17th, we got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video, like we always do when I go through each and every one of these games. I'll give you my lean on the side. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any other plays, like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, all of my final plays, if you do want to fade me, all of my plays are going to be in the pinned comment. Make sure to keep an eye on that. In terms of yesterday, so we swept 2 nights ago, and I thought maybe we were heating up a little bit. Right back down to earth. 0-2 yesterday. It was a small slate. I'm trying to tell myself that to keep, the glass half full energy here. But Phillies first 5 money line, that does not come through. And then the Red Sox battled back in the late innings. Ultimately still just to fall short here, 0-2. And the ride of the day also, I just dropped the Womp Womp, so we don't have to give collecting back the Womp Womp because we'll share that. But his ride of the day does not come through. The parlay of Cooper Criswell and Zach Lytle, both to get 4 strikeouts. They both ended at 3. I believe they both ended at 3. But nonetheless, guys, if you don't know what the ride of the day is, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Give me an absolute banger of a pick. I'm picking one person's play, jumping on board with you, giving you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. Also on my Twitter, go follow me there at EvGuyBoston. We'll shout you out over there. And if you win, we continue to ride with your plays, just like collecting. Hit us with a banger the night before, then we ride again and it comes up short. But you know what? Hit us with a banger the night before, so I can't be mad about that. But use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Let's go ahead and jump into this slate, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. MLB cold streak. I don't know if it's a cold streak. It's just kind of like an erratic streak, right? Like we'll have like a 5-0 night like we did. I think it was a week ago, right? We followed that up with a 3-1 night, so all of a sudden we're grooving, right? Our next 15 plays after that, we were like 2-13. So, yeah, there's wins and losses coming, but hey, it's sports betting. If you can't take the wins, if you can't take the losses, then you really don't deserve to celebrate the wins, which we do celebrate our sweeps around here with the money gun and whatnot, right? But let's jump into game number 1 here. We got Chicago taking on Pittsburgh. Yesterday, we liked Pittsburgh, and you know what we didn't do? Bet it. We didn't make it a final play. Couldn't get to the window with it. Obviously wish we did there, but you know what? Hindsight 2020. Today we have Hendricks on the mound for Chicago going up against Paul Skeens for Pittsburgh. Both of these pitchers, Skeens only has 1 start on the year, but both these pitchers, their combined ERA is a 16.81. Yeah, that is absolutely absurd. Neither offense, though, really is impressing me at the moment, so I don't really know where to come out on this one overall. I think I do lean towards the Cubs just to even up the series after yesterday. So slight lean towards the Cubs. I don't think it makes its way into being a final play due to these pitchers being so. They've been so bad. Only 1 outing for Skeens so far this year, but it was against this Cubs team. So, I give it a little bit of weight, right? And that was a 10-9 game. Like, neither one of these guys looked all that strong. And I think Hendricks only has 1 good start against any team this year, really, and it was against this Pittsburgh team. So maybe that's the differentiating factor, right? So I'll lean towards Cubs, but overall, this could be like a crazy game. We have 2 bad offenses against righties in the last 30 days, okay? With 2 bad pitchers. So it's like, all right, where's this going to come out? 2 mediocre bullpens. So I'm going to lean towards Chicago. They're the home team. I expect them to even it up. In terms of the total here, I guess I'd lean towards the over slightly, just due to the fact that, we're looking at a spot in which these pitchers can obviously have some bad outings, right? Like neither one of these guys tells me that they're going to be an absolute gem type pitcher. So I don't know if either one of these plays makes its way into my final plays, but if I had a gun to my head, I'd go Cubs and the over ever so slightly. Next up, we have the Phillies taking on Washington here. The problem with this one is obviously we've been riding with the Phillies. They've come up short for us just a couple times out of all the times we've taken them, but the odds are terrible here. Even if you did want to take a look at Phillies on the first 5 run line, for example, right? All you're getting for odds is something that I do feel like isn't all that special, right? Minus 170 for them to win by 0.5 in the first 5. So that isn't something that I'm really going to consider. What I could see actually making its way into being a final play And yes, we're trying to massage this to get to a Phillies bet here. I think we could take a peek at the Phillies team total over 4.5. I don't know if we roll with this just because Jake Irvin's on the mound for Washington, and I guess, believe it or not, like I think that, you know, he's a decent pitcher. He's been having a decent year overall. Cumulatively here, he's got a 3.5 ERA, a 1.09 WHIP, a FIP of 3.2. Like all of that is pretty good, you know what I mean? So nothing that I would sit there and be like, I don't think that, you know, we can back him, or I don't think that we should, or I think we should fade him, excuse me. So that's the concern. Zach Wheeler's on the mound for Philadelphia, so if you do want Philly on the money line, you want to put them in some sort of a parlay or something like that, I would be down for that as well. But I think for plus money here, you can get the Phillies team total over 4.5. I know, obviously, you know, Jake Irvin is a good pitcher, but with 40 plate appearances against here, we have a batting average against of 250, WOB of 309, and expected slugging today of 430, expected batting average of 280. So I do think that we could have a decent spot for Philly to score 5 runs, right? And then it's almost like, all right, if Irvin's dealing, sure, maybe they get to the bullpen, that type of thing. Philadelphia's, you know, marks here against right-handed pitchers in the last 30 days are great. First in average, first in WRC+, first in on-base percentage, first in OPS, first in slugging, and then if they're not first, they're top 5 in every other category we're looking at here. And again, look at Zach Wheeler's numbers are great. That's why I think Philadelphia has a good spot here. Jake Irvin also having a good year, but he's going to throw a lot of fastballs. Okay, Philadelphia crushes fastballs. A lot of cutters here. Okay, Philadelphia crushes cutters as well. You guys can't see that. Let's see if we make it a little smaller right here. Fastball and cutter for Philadelphia batting against his pitch mix. So I do think Philadelphia is the move, but the way to play it odds-wise is probably going to be taking somewhat of their team total. So if we do roll with that, you can probably expect a team total in there, not necessarily a money line or a run line. And by the way, guys, that is our dashboard that we update every single day. It was free. It is now just for channel members. We had it free for like the first few months or first couple months of the year, so don't hate on me for that. But if you do want to become a channel member, it's just $2.99 per month. There's a link in the description, as well as a join button next to the subscribe button on your phone and on your computer as well. So go ahead and join. We post this as a new link every single day, but you get the link for a month if you become a channel member for a month. So yeah, this tool has helped me out tremendously. We've put a lot of effort into it. So if you do want to become a member and support the channel and get this tool, $2.99 a month. I think it's well worth it. In terms of a total here in this spot too, I like the under. It's 7.5. Yes, it's a low number, but I could see both pitchers kind of dueling it out. The one problem I have with taking an under in this spot is I'm considering taking Philadelphia to score 5 runs, right? So essentially what I'd be saying is it's a 5-2 game if we stay under the number here. But again, Philadelphia's team total for an over 4.5 was for plus money. We got to remember that. So that would be more like the flyer type play. This is more of a middle of the road, taking it under 7.5, and I don't think that I would play them together, FYI. So it's just if we put them both in a vacuum and separately, those are the ways that I am thinking about this. I'd also consider taking a peek at the Nerfy in this spot. Minus 115. I usually like to take plus money Nerfies just because, you know, it's kind of a coin flip. So if you get the plus money side of it, you cash for a little bit. But under 0.5 here, I think that this is a good spot. Irvin, on the season so far, when he's pitched for the Nats, 63% of his games have gone under. When Wheeler's pitched for the Phillies here, 9 of his 10 starts have gone under here on the season. Actually, not 9. I think it's 8 of 9. Only one that didn't was last time against Miami. So I do like the Nerfy a lot. That could definitely be a final play as well. So I feel like I spent a lot of time on this game, but a lot of action that we could consider in this spot. Next up, we have Baltimore taking on Seattle here. This is an interesting one here. On the mound for Baltimore, we have Cole Irvin projected to go. I don't think he's been confirmed, so definitely could be someone else because I believe he pitched. When's the last time he pitched? I guess it could be his time here, but I've seen Means also listed as the pitcher, so we shall see. Either way, I do think that there could be a lane for Seattle here. Baltimore's offense against right-handed pitchers just has not been all that great in the last 30 days here. Bryce Miller on the mound for Seattle, and he's honestly, I don't know if I'm the biggest Bryce Miller guy, but he has been pitching fairly well. He hasn't had, some of his games have been cupcake games, but he also, like, I look back to that Atlanta game, 7 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, no home runs, just 1 walk, 2 hits, 1 run allowed, like 13 pitches per inning. Like, if he does that again, like Baltimore, as good as Baltimore is offensively, against righties, they have had some struggles, right? So their one win was against the lefty in the Toronto series as well. So I could see a plus money Seattle play here. In terms of a total, this is where it gets a little interesting because I see this game like finishing either 5-3 or 4-3 type of a thing. So I do think I'm gonna lean towards the under ever so slightly, but it depends on who's on the mound for Orioles. If Cole Irvin goes, I think I do like the under. If he's not, if Means goes or something, because I think that's the other name that's been thrown out there, then I honestly might just pass on it or lean towards the over, because I don't love him as much as I do the matchup here, a lefty against Seattle. So that's kind of where my brain is at. All right, Yankees taking on the White Sox. I don't have too much of a take on this one just because those odds are crazy. Obviously, the Yankees the better pitcher. Nestor Cortez out there for the Yankees today, going up against Mike Clevenger. Yankees against right-handed pitchers, really, really good. Chicago against lefties, really, really poor, which I feel like they're just kind of poor against everyone. And even looking at the dashboard here, you can see huge discrepancy in both the starting pitching as well as the bullpen. So I do think the Yankees get this done. They've also won nearly 70% of games when at home this season. So give me the Yanks here, but they'd probably be in some sort of a money line, maybe Yankees Phillies money line or something like that. I don't hate them. I'll say that I don't hate them on the run line if you want to get a little spicy with it and have them win by by 2 runs. But minus 122 as the odds. Usually when I go run line, or especially when I'm going minus 1.5, so the favored run line, I'm looking for closer to even odds because I want that, the juice has got to be worth the squeeze in my opinion. From a total perspective, I have trouble seeing this one going under. I don't think I play it, though. Based on what we're seeing from this ballpark today, it looks like it's going to be a little breezy, a little cold, wind blowing away from that right field wall and in. So I could see this being, a low-ish scoring game, but the way the bats are for the Yankees, it's kind of hard to predict there, especially if Clevenger doesn't have a good game, which it seems like it's more often than not right now. All right, guys, before we do move on to the rest of the slate, I want to talk to you about Outlier. You've seen me talk about them before because it literally is my favorite player prop research tool out there. They have the insight screen, which literally just does the heavy lifting for you. In 1 second, once this loads, you'll just see a bunch of trending plays and the odds associated. For example, Jared Shurla has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs in 10 of his last 12 games on the road, averaging 0.8 hits, runs, and RBIs. If you like that, you could even go in. We could check this out a little bit more and dissect it head-to-head this season, last year, last 20, all that type of stuff. But they also have it for games. You could see where the money is, the public money and the public bet percentage, as well as it on the total, everything like that. But what I really like is being able to just dig into player props yourselves. Say we're just looking for hits, right? You could say hits. All right, we only want to look for overs, and then the odds maybe say minus 500 or better in a sense. And you can go through and look at this. Okay, Ketel Marte, dig in. He's got a hit in 10 straight games. He's got a hit in 18 of his last 20. Really, 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 really cool tool, guys. I use this thing every single day. You've seen me talk about it because I truly do believe in it, and I believe in where it's going. So if you guys do want to test out Outlier, you get 7 days free with the link in the pinned comment. I also have a link in the description if that's easier for you, but 7 days free. After that, Insights, popular games, props will all be just $19.99 per month. Yes, it's that cheap for everything you're getting. If you do want to go with the premium version, you'll have EV, you'll have boosts, arbitrage, and middle as well. I believe that's $80-ish a month. But this is more than enough, this $20 per month. Go try it out for 7 days. I always tell you guys that this is my favorite app, and it is. It's on the desktop as well as on your phone, all the capabilities. So go ahead and try that out. Again, that's Outlier. That link is in the pinned comment or the description. 7 days free just by using that link. Don't worry about a code or anything. They make it super, super simple. Outlier, link in the pinned comment. Let's get back to these games. Toronto taking on Tampa Bay. I feel like this would have more juice behind it if it was last year. I don't know where to come out on either one of these squads right now. Tampa Bay seems like they may be starting to turn it around. They've won 6 of the last 10 games. They just took 2 straight against the Red Sox. Toronto lost. I think they split against Baltimore, but they lost 2 of 3 against Minnesota. So Toronto is at home now. I do think that that's a little bit of a difference. The Rays were in sort of a back and forth game yesterday, so I think ultimately I end up leaning Toronto in this spot. But look at the odds. Like, what's going on there? Minus 180, I guess minus 175 you can actually get, but a little interesting there from a spot in which I think Chris Bassett on the mound against Tyler Alexander. It's like, yes, I'd give a slight edge to Toronto. They definitely don't have the bullpen edge, though their bullpen is rested, but the batting also is very, very similar. So if you're on the Rays here, or you're thinking, there could be an opportunity to take the Rays plus 150, I truly don't hate it whatsoever. Even looking at their lineup, it's like, yeah, they have most of their normal guys going. Both sides do. So I think that this is more of a play on Tyler Alexander, if anything, right? Has not been all that great. But again, like, Chris Bassett hasn't either. So this is an interesting one. I lean Toronto because I think the spot makes the most sense, but I wouldn't talk anyone off of looking at the Rays for plus 150 today in this spot. In terms of a total here, overall, I initially came in thinking over, but looking further into it, like, both these offenses are kind of, I don't want to say scare me a little bit, but neither one of them is screaming, hey, let's go get a bunch of runs. So I think I ultimately flip on my own initial gut reaction and say lean towards the under, just because the offenses, these pitchers can let up 10 runs in an inning, but these offenses, can they do that? You know what I mean? So slight lean towards the under here. All right, moving on, we got Cleveland taking on Minnesota. Simeon Woods-Richardson on the mound for Minnesota, going up against Tristan McKenzie for Cleveland, who we faded McKenzie plenty of times this season. I do think that there is a little bit of a pitching edge on the side of Minnesota here, just by the way that these guys have pitched. McKenzie's had some good starts, especially his last couple, but he's also had some starts in which he's been a little rocky this season. But on the same side, you can make the argument for Woods-Richardson, right? Like, he was looking really good. His last start against Toronto, 4 1/3, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, only 2 Ks. So I could see you saying, hey, there's not much of a pitching edge here, right? And Cleveland has the bullpen edge. But I do think Minnesota, when it comes to batting against right-handed pitchers, that's where the edge comes in. And Tristan McKenzie literally throws like 75% fastballs. What do I keep telling you guys? When we can get Minnesota against a guy that throws a lot of fastballs, it's worth taking a slight flyer here. And you can get Minnesota for plus 105. So I do think that I lean towards the underdog in this spot. Do I like them full game? Maybe not. Maybe not, just because of the bullpen discrepancy. You have Cleveland with the #1 bullpen in the entire league right now, and they should be fairly well rested, right? No one pitched yesterday. Minnesota's bullpen's rested too, and they don't have a bad bullpen. So if you like full game, I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, don't roll with it. But for plus 106 in the first 5, I think it's about the same type of play as full game, but you're eliminating that good Cleveland bullpen. So I do think I lean towards Minnesota, both money line as well as first 5 money line. In terms of a total, we're sitting at 8.5 right now. This one is one, again, like, not to sound like a broken record, but one where I could see finishing right around the 8 or 9 mark. So clearly the odds makers are like, yeah, I think most people think that we'll put it right in the middle. I'll lean towards the over, just because I do think Minnesota, if they can get to McKenzie, like, all of a sudden we're seeing Minnesota put some runs up early, and then I don't think Cleveland's going to be out of this game, right? So I'll lean towards the over, but I do think two, plays that I would definitely prefer overall would be Minnesota first 5 money line and Minnesota money line. Again, based on, if it's not enough sort of backing for you, I get it. But based on the fact that we're looking at a Minnesota team that hits fastballs really, really well, Tristan McKenzie throws a lot of fastballs, like almost all fastballs. And even Minnesota hits the slider really well too, and that's his second pitch. So Minnesota money line, slightly towards the over, but definitely more interested in plus money plays on Minnesota today. Miami hosting the Mets. You might be looking at those odds being like, why is Miami only plus 100? Jesus Luzardo's on the mound. He's actually started to look pretty good. Still on the season, though, all right? Still on the season, he has a 5.97 ERA, so let's not get carried away. Going up against Christian Scott here, who has 2 starts on the year and has looked decent in both of them, and he went up against Tampa Bay and shut them down. Okay, great. But then he did pitch 6 innings of 3 earned run baseball with 8 strikeouts against Atlanta, who ultimately won the game, but I think I give him a little bit of credit for that there. That being said, Miami, obviously a bad team this year, but the Mets really struggle against lefties, and I think this could be a very good spot for Luzardo. I'll sound the psycho alert alarm. I think that this could be a spot in which, Christian Scott has had 2 nice starts, good for him, but Luzardo's just starting to heat up, and he's going up against a Mets team that now obviously had to travel to Miami after a game in Philly yesterday. Miami's kind of been sitting there waiting for them. They've had a day off, and now they have their ace on the mound who finally starting to look like he's pitching good. And even when I say he's pitching good or well, it's like he's still not like there, but I seriously think that this could be a spot for Luzardo to actually have some good play here. Another spot that I would look at, and again, maybe I'm getting too much of the psycho alert alarm mentality and liking Miami here, Christian Scott over 2.5 earned runs, as well as his under 17.5 outs. His 2 starts so far this year, like I said, I'll give him credit. 6 2/3 and 6 innings pitched. If he gets got to at all, I don't necessarily see this being a spot for him. Like, I think he's due for some regression for sure. In terms of where he is from an ERA perspective right now, let me pull it up so we can have it. In terms of his ERA, he's looking at a 2.84 ERA, right? I think that there's got to be some regression coming because I don't think that he's a 2.84 ERA guy all the time. And his FIP is at 2.64. His expected FIP jumps to 3.5, which still is decent, but obviously there's a decent amount of jump there. So I think there could be a little regression out of Scott today. But overall, like the Mets against left-handed pitchers in the last 30 days, forget the pitching, 30th in average, 30th in WRC+, 30th in on-base, 30th in OPS. So, I mean, there's enough there to say this Mets team, regardless of pitching, could struggle offensively, and maybe Miami figures something out with Luzardo on the mound. Total-wise, I feel like I'm already crazy enough to like the Mets in this spot. So, yeah, take it or leave it in terms of what I'm liking here. But I'll lean towards the over just because I'm kind of banking on Miami scoring some runs, and yeah, I'm not betting that, okay? I'll tell you that transparently. All right, next up, we have Atlanta taking on the Padres here. Atlanta is at home. Waldron's on the mound for San Diego, which you always got to consider the knuckleballer could kind of throw some weirdness in there. And this is an Atlanta team that actually hits knuckleballs fairly well. So I do lean towards Atlanta, but then I looked at the odds and I was like, minus 200. Like, the Padres have been ass. I think that we all have seen that and can believe that, all right, maybe we've overrated them a couple times or whatever, right? Because this Padres team just got swept by the Colorado Rockies. Did we hear that correctly? This Padres team got swept by the Colorado Rockies 5-4, 6-3, and then 8-0. You know what's crazy is that we bet some form or another, right? We didn't bet them directly, but over 4.5 in that game number 1. And then we took them minus 0.5 in the first 5. We bet them twice during that series. Both times lost. Are you kidding me, San Diego? To put in perspective, they were minus 215, minus 277, and minus 240 favorites in that one. So I'm out on the Padres right now. Give me Atlanta here, minus 210. In terms of how we can probably play that, because obviously the odds are just shot through the moon at 210. From a first 5 perspective, that's probably the way that I would look at it. First 5 run line here for minus 0.5, you can get at minus 140. That could be a move because, again, Waldron, the one credit I'd give him is, hey, he's going to go out there and can confuse you with a knuckleball, right? Atlanta actually hits that pitch fairly well, which is crazy to say. On the mound for Atlanta, we didn't even talk about is Max Fried. Has he had his struggles this year? For certain. But he's also come in with a couple nice starts so far. I don't know if he's confirmed as a starter yet, but either way, I do like it. There should be some weather in this one, so I'm going to lean towards the under as well, but almost helps what I would say my play on Atlanta first 5 because this San Diego offense already looks kind of crappy, right? With some weather in there, I don't know if he's going to get the best grip on the knuckleball. I think Atlanta can have some timely runs in this spot, but I like the under overall as well. Still a bunch of TBDs for this game here. We don't have odds, and we don't have a pitcher for Oakland. Cole Reagan's on the mound for Kansas City, so I would lean towards them, but I have a feeling we're going to get some bad odds. But either way, if we have anything in this game, go ahead and check the pinned comment. We'll keep an eye out there, and I'll update you there when we get odds and numbers and whatnot if we end up rolling with something in this game. All right, Texas taking on the Angels. Texas finally gets on the board. They also got swept by the Colorado Rockies 2 series ago, not including this one, obviously. And then they lose 2 of 3 against Cleveland, but they did get 1 win right there at the end. So they, after 5 straight losses, which again, like, are they the Colorado Sweepies? The Colorado Rockies, because they swept the Padres, they swept Texas. The Angels, kind of in a similar boat. They've lost 6 of their last 10 here. Both these teams, I do think, have a pitcher on the mound that can go either way, and the bullpens are shot. Tyler Anderson on the mound for the Angels, going up against Texas's Andrew Heaney. Overall, I think I'm going to lean towards the over in this spot. Get it to double digits. Just backing, not necessarily backing both offenses, I would say, but fading both of these left-handed pitchers. And neither one of these offenses is terrible against lefties, which is good to see. But also the bullpens are not all that great. So if we can get to 10 runs here with some late run support and whatnot, I do like that spot. I think from a money line lean perspective, I hate to do it, but I'm going to lean towards the chalky favorite at -180 there. It should be a good one here. We got Houston taking on Milwaukee. Houston's trotting out Hunter Brown, which is sort of the thing that makes me like Milwaukee in this spot. So there's my play. I like Milwaukee on the money line. Both first 5 as well as full game. This is essentially a pick 'em. You're not going to get plus money on either side. -108 for Milwaukee, I think it's -110 for Houston. So should be a good game overall. But the thing that kind of makes it stick out to me is, one, obviously Hunter Brown hasn't had the best year, 7.8 ERA on the season. His last few starts, it's almost like it's just getting worse and worse, and he hasn't gone up against like crazy good offenses constantly. Freddie Peralta, who, honestly, I love Freddie Peralta, but he's been mediocre against the last 3 the last 3 starts he's had, and he pitched against Houston way back, I think 4 years ago, and got lit up. But that is a long time ago, right? So we can't really sit here and be like, oh, well, he's going to do that again. But overall, the thing that I like is that you have Freddie Peralta, who, and we know that this is a good offense, right? We know it's a good offense from Houston, but Freddie Peralta is going to throw a lot of fastballs. We know that. He's a slinger. Houston only 18th in terms of runs above average per 100 fastballs. So if that's going to be his main pitch, which we know it is, I think they're going to struggle with it. Then then he's going to go to a slider. 22nd Houston is in runs above average. Then he goes to a changeup. Those are his 3 pitches, 25th. So all of these pitches that he's going to throw, Houston should struggle with, meaning I don't see that their offense is going to absolutely dominate, right? So yeah, give me Milwaukee here on the money line, both full game and first 5, no matter how you want to play it. In terms of a total here, that's where it gets interesting, because both these offenses should be able to generate runs, right? And we're sitting at 8.5. I think whether I'm right about the money line play or not, I think one of these offenses has a day today. So I'll lean towards the over 8.5. Again, it's kind of predicated on the fact that I think one of these teams does end up having a nice little spot overall, like maybe like 5 or 6 runs from either Houston or Milwaukee. In my case, I hope it's Milwaukee. All right, St. Louis taking on the Red Sox. Like I said, Red Sox playing the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday had a really big, but really intense back and forth game. Even the game before, they went to extras. And was it maybe it was 2 games ago, they went to extras and walked off. So obviously kind of a rocky series that they do. And then now they travel to St. Louis over here. And St. Louis has lost 7 of their last 10. I'm a Red Sox fan. I hope I'm not being biased, because I'm the first one to say that this Red Sox team seems like some of their success has been hollow. But Brian Bayo on the mound here, I like their spot. Their bullpen should be better than the St. Louis Cardinals, but their bullpen is a little taxed, so maybe they lose a little bit of an edge there. But still, I'm not gonna get off it. I like Bayo on the Red Sox. Bayo came back after missing about a month, right, and looked pretty good against Washington. 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 4 hits allowed. Didn't strike many guys out, but again, kind of first back after an injury. Total sitting at 8. This is a spot in which I could see this being a low-scoring, like 6-run type of a game, where it's like 4-2 or even 3-2 or something like that, because neither one of these offenses is something that, and the Red Sox have decent numbers against righties, so don't get me wrong, but neither one of these offenses is as consistent as anything, right? Like, you'll see them go off for 7 runs and then score 2 runs. So I'm thinking with Kyle Gibson on the mound, who's not having a bad year for the Cardinals, and Brian Bayo on the mound for the Sox, like, I could see this being, like I said, a 6-ish, 7-ish type game. So I'm leaning towards the under. All right, if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and comment 28. You made it past the 28-minute mark, and I cannot thank you enough. You're definitely not a damn guppy if you made it this far, because the guppies just skip around the video. The amount of times that I see some comments like, "What do you like in the Yankees and White Sox game?" And I'm like, excuse me, I go through every single game each and every day. What are you saying? What do I like in it? I just told you. Oh no, you skipped past it and skipped around. So I like to see the people that make it this far into the video. Even if you just say you are skipping around and you made it to this rant, go ahead and comment 28. But nonetheless, guys, let's jump into this one. We get Arizona taking on Detroit here. On the mound for Arizona is going to be Kyle Nelson, going up against Tariq Skubal here. I like Tariq Skubal a lot. We've bet on him tons. Did I say Kyle Nelson? Ryan Nelson. But I think Kyle Gibson's on the mound for St. Louis, right? I mixed it too. But I do think that this is a spot in which Arizona could hang in there. They bat lefties really, really well. But I can't look past Screwball. That dude is a dude, okay? So on the season, 2.02 ERA, 0.86 whip, 2.01 FIP, an expected FIP today of 2.5. Like, there's no reason to look to fade him here. He's been good against good teams, bad teams, all that stuff. And Ryan Nelson has, I guess you could say he's been okay in his last few starts, but on the season has had some issues, right? And overall, I would honestly say that this is a spot in which I just can't see him truly dominating. Detroit isn't great against right-handed pitchers, but not bad whatsoever. So to me, I look at this and I say, Ryan Nelson probably doesn't have a day. Skubal, even with Arizona batting lefties well, I think that he could kind of work this Arizona team. So give me Detroit here. If you were to make an argument for Arizona, it better be from a batting perspective, because Detroit wins the starting pitching, the bullpen, probably the team overall, and they potentially could lose the batting argument when you say who's been batting the hand of the pitcher better in the last 30 days. So if you want to take a flyer on Arizona, I get it, but Detroit should have this in the bag. Should. Total-wise, I'm going to lean towards, this is tough. I think I'm going to lean a Detroit team total over, and that's how we look at it versus the whole total, because if Screwball's going to deal, which I hope he does, then it's going to be tough to kind of back the idea of an over, right? Dodgers taking on the Cincinnati Reds here. Paxton on the mound for the Dodgers, going up against Frankie Montas. Both these pitchers have had their struggles. I think this is just another one that we've been doing, and I do apologize. I saw a comment yesterday being like, when it gets to the Dodgers or some Atlanta games, it's like, why even bother going over them if you're just going to lean towards them, money line and a parlay? That's just kind of what it is. Like, I don't control the matchups. I don't control how good one team is, their talent discrepancy. So, yeah, we're still going to cover it. Maybe it's just quicker than normal, like today. I like the Dodgers, but you'd have to throw them in some sort of a parlay. Maybe Dodgers, Yankees. Maybe we take every minus 200 or beyond team today and put them in a parlay and say, hey, screw it. If you think that, comment minus 200, and it'll let me know that maybe we're doing that. We can all ride it together. I don't know why my lip here is so itchy. I've itched like 10 times in this one game breakdown. But yeah, comment minus 200 if you like the idea of just parlaying all those together and saying, you know what? Let's see if it hits, right? But give me a Dodgers money line in some sort of parlay. Total sitting at 9. Don't really have a big take on it, but I'll lean towards the over because Dodgers, right? Their offense, Frankie Montas, not all that great. Has been great, not all that great though. That's what I would say. And by has been great, I mean in the past has been great, not like recently has been great. All right, we got the Giants taking on the Colorado Sweepies here. Kyle Harrison on the mound for the Giants, going up against Ryan Feltner. Neither one of these teams has the, it's hard to say. I was going to say has like the it factor, but Colorado looks like they're actually playing really well, right? And the last time they played the Giants, they did lose 2 of 3 in that series. It was a few series ago, but they won the last game 9-1. Let's do it. Let's lean towards Colorado plus the 140 here in this spot. You can get that over on DraftKings. Again, like, it's not like I'm backing Feltner on Colorado, whatever. He's meh. Not backing Kyle Harrison for sure on San Francisco. I haven't been too impressed by him. So, yeah, Colorado on the money line for plus 140. Screw it. In terms of a total here, obviously I'm not like over the moon about this play, by the way, all right? I know we're going to get like I bet Colorado because of you, and then I lost my 10-leg parlay. It's like, listen to what I'm saying. You know what I mean? In terms of a total, Colorado's offense has been hot. 8 runs, 6 runs, 5 runs, 3 runs, 8 runs, 4 runs, 9 runs in their last 7 games here. All have been wins. So who am I to take away from what's been fun? I'll lean towards the over as well. And guys, that is going to wrap for today. Not many player props at the time of recording this, honestly. So we might try and get a player prop or two added to the pinned comment. So make sure to keep an eye on that. But I do appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're new, you hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. If you want to become a channel member, again, there's a join link to become a baller. That's what we call our members here in the description, excuse me. There should also be a join button somewhere on YouTube if you do want to join and get access to our dashboard, which has helped out a ton of folks overall. But nonetheless, guys, we'll catch you guys in the next one, right? Peace out. Thought I'd leave you hanging? Peace out, guys.